My parents bought me a cello, and I think I must have been around fifth or sixth grade when I began playing the cello. And I must say that it's a beautiful instrument. I loved playing it. By the time I was 15, was introduced to a computer called the Semi-Automated Ground Environment, SAGE computer in Santa Monica, California. This is a tube-based computer, and it was so big that it filled the room. So I got very interested and curious about this. By the time 1960 rolled around, my new best friend, Steve Crocker, whom I met in high school in 1959, and I got permission to use computers at UCLA. And so we started programming, but we were programming the Bendix 315 together, and frankly and embarrassingly, I abandoned the cello in favor of this digital stuff. And so the Advanced Research Projects Agency selected UCLA and Len Kleinrock as the site of the first node of the Arpanet. I then became a research assistant for Len Kleinrock on the Arpanet project. And so we were the network measurement center of the Arpanet project. The second node was at SRI International, Stanford Research Institute at that point. Then University of California, Santa Barbara is the third node, and the fourth one is the University of Utah. So this little group of four nodes were the nascent initial internet, or ARPANET. And I spent until 1972 working in Len Kleinrock's shop then on the Network Measurement Center, and working with Steve Crocker and John Postel and others on the design of the host-to-host protocols for the ARPANET, which were the standards by which any of the machines on this ARPANET system could communicate with each other. And so that was my introduction to computer networking and the need for standardization to work across a wide range of different brands of computers. My primary focus at the time was on getting the network measurement system up and running. That's how I met Bob Kahn. He came out to UCLA to the Network Measurement Center, where I was the principal programmer, and said, I want to run these series of tests. So, he would tell me what he wanted to do, and I'd program that overnight, and then we'd run the test, and we'd kill the network. We did it over and over again. In order for him to demonstrate to his colleagues back at Bolt, Beranek, and Newman that there were problems with the algorithms, and they all said, it never happened, the probability is zero. And he said, no, it isn't, see? So Bob and I bonded over that particular task in 1970. And then as time went on, Bob was asked by Lowry Roberts, who was the ARPA director of the Information Processing Techniques Office at the time, to organize a demonstration of the ARPANET, a public demonstration, which was part of the first international conference on computer communication. The reason it was a watershed is it was the first public demonstration of this concrete example of packet switching technology at work, linking diverse heterogeneous machines across a homogeneous network. It was spectacular. I mean, people were just amazed at what was possible to do in multiple machines interacting with each other, people getting access through time-shared machines elsewhere, and this backbone network running. So that was a huge watershed event. Bob Kahn and I began working on the design of the internet. He was at DARPA, and so he moved in there about the same time that Sigrid and I came to Stanford, and he and I began working in the spring of '73 on the design of the internet. So around September of '73 or so, not only does Sigrid give birth to our son David, but Bob and I give birth to the first internet design. And we published a paper the following year in May of 1974. But it was submitted to communications of IEEE Transactions on Communications in roughly September or October of '73. So our son David wants to know if he's the brother of the internet.
Well, if you're one of the fathers, why not?
Why not? So at Stanford, I was teaching operating systems and data structures and things like that. And I had a joint appointment in both computer science and electrical engineering. And of course, my primary focus of attention in the research space was in the design of the internet. I had a seminar of students who participated in the design, debated various and sundry details of the protocol. This was primarily a graduate student seminar, and those were the ones who really helped detail and refine the actual TCP, transmission control protocol, which was detailed in its first full form in December of 1974. We published what was called Request for Comments 675 in December of 1974, and the three authors of that were Vint Cerf, Yogan Dalal, and Carl Sunshine. And in the beginning of January 1975, we began implementation of that protocol in three different locations, one at Bolt, Baranek, and Newman, one at University College London, and one at Stanford University. And so those three implementations were the beginning of the internet evolution.